Hi folks, I hope that you guys are doing pretty well. So today is Wednesday, the 23rd of October 2024, and in today's video I'm going to be giving you my own Bible commentary regarding Psalm 14, okay? Now I believe the verses 1 to 6 are actually applying to the second half of the tribulation period, that's right, okay? And then verse 7, we see a transition into the Millennium Kingdom, okay? Now, I do actually have a program here, okay, and I'm gonna go through you as to why I think that verses 1 to 6 actually apply to the second half of the tribulation period, and then verse 7 into the millennial kingdom, okay. Now, I guess when trying to decipher this Psalm 14, we have to ask ourselves quite a few questions, okay. Now, let me give you an example. On verse 1 here says, "The fool has said in his heart, there is no God. They are corrupt. They have done abominable works. There is none that does good." Okay? So when we try to break this up and you try and think and ask yourself the question, when can actually this happen when people are saying, uh, or foolish people are saying in their hearts, there is no God? And the fact that they have become corrupt and they have done abominable works. And God is saying here, there is none that does any good. Now, I believe that this is actually applies to the second half of the tribulation period because the fact that people are corrupt and they are saying that there is no God, if you like, they have become abominable. And God is saying that there is none that does any good. This can only apply to the second half of the tribulation period because don't forget that in the first half of the tribulation period, Moses and Elijah will be there, you know, sharing the gospel, okay? And, you know, there will be saints still getting saved, okay? So let me show you the reasons why, okay? As to why verses 1 to 6 are actually for the second half of the tribulation period. And the verse 1 actually sets up the scene. You know, there is no God, there's none that does good. I put the second half of the tribulation period when this is going to happen. Now, the reasons that I believe that verses 1 to 6 are for the second half of the tribulation period is that Moses and Elijah already left in Revelation 11:12. Okay, we know that the man of sin, if you like, then turns into the son of perdition, as the devil, if you like, rises from the bottomless pit. Okay, and he takes over and becomes the son of perdition. Okay, now the Antichrist or the son of perdition is going to kill both Moses and Elijah, and after 3.5 days they're going to resurrect, and God is going to rapture them out into heaven. Okay, so basically, what we see in Revelation 13 verse 7 is that the Antichrist is actually making war with the saints, okay, and overcomes them. Okay, so the fact that the Antichrist is making war with the saints means that there's actually people getting saved in the first half of the tribulation period. But once the Antichrist makes war with the saints and overcomes them, okay, then in the second half of the tribulation period, it says here on verse 1, there is none that does any good, and that's because people are actually taking the mark of the beast. In Revelation 13 verse 16, the mark of the beast is introduced. People become ungodly, okay, and the Antichrist has already gotten rid of all the saints. Okay, there are no more saints. He has overcome them, like it says, um, in Revelation 13 verse 7. And so the remaining people that are left behind in the second half of the tribulation period is what verse 1 is all about. They are saying, hey, there is no God. They're attacking the mark of the beast. There is none that does any good. Okay, that's why I believe that verse 1 to 6 are actually for the second half of the tribulation period. Okay, now let us go to verse 2 then. Okay, the Lord looked down from heaven upon the children of men to see if there were any that did understand, and seek God. Verse 3, they are all gone aside. Of course, in the second half of the tribulation period, people taking the mark of the beast. And like I said earlier, the Son of Perdition or the Antichrist has already overcome the saints. Okay, so what's left is the bad ones. They are all gone aside. They are all together become filthy. Taking the mark of the beast, if you like. There is none that does good. No, not one. Okay, have all the workers of iniquity no knowledge? Okay, who eat up my people as I eat bread and call not upon the Lord? Pretty much this is what's going to happen in the second half of the tribulation period. There will they in great fear, for God is in the generation of the righteous. Verse 6, you have shamed the counsel of the poor, because the Lord is his refuge. Okay, so, a lot of people are doing shame, during the second half of the tribulation period. But then on verse 7, we see the transition of Jesus coming down with insight, to mark war against the Antichrist. Okay, and of course, it's going to be that big judgment in the valley of Jehoshaphat, according to Joel chapter 3, verse 2. Okay, and it says here, all that the salvation of Israel were to come out of Zion, when the Lord bringeth back the captivity of his people. Jacob shall rejoice and Israel shall be glad. So, in other words, what we're seeing is that verses 1 to 6 are actually for the second half of the tribulation period when there's no one that's any good. Okay, and then verse 7 we begin to see the transition into the Millennium Kingdom when Jesus comes back, you know, and puts the Antichrist into the lake of fire and brimstone, as well as the false prophet. Okay, and then Jesus will rescue the Jewish people that have gone into captivity, because don't forget, in the second half of the tribulation period, the Jewish people are going to have to flee into the wilderness, and God is going to have to save them supernaturally. So when Jesus returns for the millennial, then Jacob or the Jewish people shall rejoice, and they are going to be coming back out of captivity, because Jesus is going to bring them back, if you like. Okay? So this is why I think, in my view, Psalm 14 is actually very interesting. It's a psalm that is actually predominantly for the second half of the tribulation period, from verses 1 to 6, but then on verse 7, the last one, we see the transition into the Millennium Kingdom, how Jesus finally comes down to mark the judgment in the valley of Jehoshaphat, if you like, and rescue his people that are in captivity. And then, the Jewish people, Jacob shall rejoice, and Israel shall be glad, and of course, Jesus will be the King of Israel. Alright, folks, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you all later.